Live from the KHOU 11 studios and streaming on KHOU 11 Plus. Your news starts now. And tonight, the breaking news we've been following, a manhunt lasting several hours, ends with a suspected cop killer himself shot and killed in a shootout with police just after 5 p.m. Also, a police canine injured and airlifted to a hospital. And we're now awaiting a news conference with law enforcement at any moment to get the very latest details. Also, brand new surveillance video now showing us the moment this whole thing began. This is a Brazoria County deputy. His name is Jesus Vargas, who was shot dead while serving a warrant just before noon today. He was a 17-year veteran of the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office, a husband and father of 3. We have live, extensive team coverage tonight as we uncover more about the suspect and his lengthy criminal history. We start, though, with Angelique Ruiz, who is live at the scene of the shooting in Southwest Houston with more for us tonight. Angelique.
Well, guys, I just want to tell you guys, still a very active scene out here. Lots of officers are still in the area. We're waiting for the police chief to be able to come down here and give us more information. But I want to walk you guys through what happened within the last 2 hours. We were in the parking lot as they were searching for the suspect. We were actually right over there, and I want to show you guys that's where the scene actually originally started. Right over there, that's where the shooting happened. I just spoke to some employees at a business right here, and they say the suspect rocked right in front of all of these businesses you see here, and they tell us that they believe he was actually hiding in the back. They believe, obviously, they were really scared because they say they go and dump the trash in the back of this property, and they believe that he might have been hiding there the entire time. Now, when we were in the parking lot, guys, we heard gunshots going off, and we saw officers rushing this way to make their way over here. And then shortly minutes after, that's when we saw that they loaded up a canine into a chopper. And then we saw lots of peace in the area, and we believe that's obviously shortly after, that's when the suspect died out here in the scene. Again, we see lots of officers gathered in that corner, and that's where we believe the shooting actually occurred. And of course, we're waiting for the police chief to arrive here. Lots of other people. I see the DA just arrived, Sean Tier, here to the scene. Again, lots of heavy presence from all law enforcement agencies across the area. We know that the U.S. Marshals are out here, constables are out here, HPD, DPS. Again, we saw two DPS choppers land out here in the area. But again, the businesses out here are pretty frightened. They said they didn't expect this, and they didn't expect that the suspect would still be here in the area. They said that they thought that the suspect had actually gone to the apartments just down the street, and were pretty shocked to see that he was still here when all of this transpired. And of course, we're going to wait for the police chief to be able to provide us with more details on what exactly happened and how they were able to get the suspect. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Very chaotic. Thank you for laying that out for us, Angelique. And of course, you were showing the DA, Harris County DA, Sean Tier. He'll probably be part of that news conference. Thank you, Angelique.
All right, right now we want to go just across the same parking lot to Matt Doherty. Matt, what can you tell us about the effort to save that police canine?
Well, first I want to show you where the search efforts ended, where that suspect was ultimately shot and killed. It's going to be right on the side of this strip center here, next to the O'Reilly's Auto Parts store. We don't know much about the confrontation, how it went down, or what exactly transpired, but we do know what did happen during that shootout is that one of the U.S. Marshals canines was hit by at least one of those bullets. I want you to take a look at some of the video that we caught in the last hour or so of the first of those two DPS helicopters that you heard Angelique talking about a minute ago. The first one landed in this parking lot, and it was to transport that canine who had been injured to the veterinary hospital so that it could get some treatment. We still don't know the condition that it's in right now, but we do know as of last update that it was in stable condition. However, you know, those things can change very quickly, but we do know as of about 30 minutes or so ago that that U.S. Marshals federal canine is in stable condition. So we're all hoping for the best from him. If you want to take a look over here, this is that area where all those officers are, they started coming out, oh, I would say, I mean, just before 5 o'clock. That's when my photojournalist Ryan and I were down the street kind of monitoring the situation, and they just started flying up Stella Link toward the location where the original shooting happened in the first place. So we didn't know exactly what was going on, but we were very surprised, I have to tell you, that they found the suspect just on the other side of this strip center, just a few hundred yards from where that original shooting took place, where that deputy from Brazoria County was shot and killed. Guys, back to you.
We'll take it from here. Matt Doherty live on the scene. Appreciate you. Let's go back now to the original scene and how this all began, talking about where the deputy was shot and killed. Katira Winfrey with new surveillance of the shooting that claimed Deputy Vargas's life. Katira.
Hey guys, the truck that we believe was involved in this is actually about to be towed away right now. This brown colored truck has a few bullet holes in the sides. One of the back rear tires is also flat, and you can see the Houston Police Department is about to tow that all off. But when we talk about that surveillance video, that is what this, you can see this truck in that surveillance video. And as an officer is ducked behind one of his cruisers, you see a quick flash of someone wearing black run the opposite direction. And again, this video was obtained by KHOU. And again, in that video, you can see this brown truck that I mentioned that had the bullet holes in one of the windows. It looks like there's some damage to the side. A back rear tire is flattened, and an officer is ducked behind, and he is shooting, and we see a black flash run across the screen, possibly the suspect, but not sure right now. But again, this scene has been insanely active throughout the day. As you've heard, right now there's still a helicopter flying around, loads of law enforcement still on scene gathering evidence. But that surveillance video gives you a glimpse at what unfolded and gives you a glimpse of some of the chaos that played out with that deputy losing his life, that canine being shot, and now that suspect being shot and killed. Of course, we will continue to be out here and monitor this information and hopefully get a better idea of why this started, what happened. As we mentioned earlier, from one of our sources who spoke to KHOU, it said the suspect actually pulled up and was a passenger inside this truck, and he got out and opened fire. Of course, police have not given much information, but we are hoping to get new details as we lead into this news conference, or more information from the district attorney, police, and possibly Mayor Whitmire. But again, Houston Police has that truck unloaded up in this tow truck, likely ready to set off any time now. But in that surveillance video, you can see this truck still sitting there and a person flash from the side of it, possibly connected to all of this. But of course, we'll bring you all we know as we get it. Back to you guys.
We hope to learn more at any moment now. We're awaiting a news conference with law enforcement. Katira Winfrey there, thank you. And speaking of law enforcement, members area-wide are remembering Deputy Jesus Vargas as a dedicated public servant. He was a member of the U.S. Marshals Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force, and sadly now leaves behind a loving wife and children.
Devastating day for the law enforcement family and for his family. Trayson Bragg joins us live outside Bentop Hospital, where the deputy was taken and later died. Trayson, tough blow for the community of law enforcement.
Absolutely. You all said it perfectly there. I mean, a tough blow for the law enforcement community, a tough blow for our entire community. This is news obviously none of us want to hear. And as you mentioned, after the shots rang out this morning, Deputy Vargas was brought here to Ben Taub Hospital. He was in that emergency room, and at some point, right around 3:30 this afternoon, a medical examiner's vehicle took his body to the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, followed by a large procession of dozens of law enforcement officers, both from here in Harris County and from Brazoria County as well. Now, what do we know about Deputy Vargas? We know that he's a 17-year veteran of the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office. Again, as you mentioned, a father of 3, and he leaves behind a loving wife. We also know, yes, he was a part of the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force. But we're learning more about who he was as a person, as a man, and as a law enforcement officer from the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office. In a post on social media, they call him a dedicated public servant known for his integrity, compassion, and commitment to our community, calling Deputy Vargas as well more than a team member, saying that he was a friend, a mentor, and an inspiration to everyone he knew. Now, I will say I spoke to the Brazoria County Sheriff, Bo Stallman, off camera today, and he was visibly shaken, obviously, by what took place today. Hear what else he had to say about his fallen deputy.
Today is an awful and tragic day for the community, for our county. Mr. Vargas was a 17-year veteran with the department and served very dedicatedly.
Now, we also want to point out as well that Chief Noe Diaz of the Houston Police Department also said today about Deputy Vargas that he died doing God's work, that he died working to make this community a safer place. Words that I think none of us will forget anytime soon. I'll send it back to you all.
We'll take it from here. Trace and Bragg tonight outside Bentop Hospital. Thank you. From Bentop Hospital to an animal hospital. Coming up next, we're going to have an update on the condition of the canine injured in this takedown. That's next. Back with our breaking news. Let's get you caught up. A deputy gunned down, his suspected killer shot. Hours later in a confrontation here at the same strip center on Stella Link in Southwest Houston. And during that confrontation, a police canine was also wounded and airlifted to get help.
So now we go to Westbury Animal Hospital. A lot of people wondering about the dog. That hospital just a few miles away where they airlifted that canine for emergency veterinary care.
Victor Jacobo rushed there for us. Victor, what are you seeing and learning?
Yeah, I want to show you the scene here at Westbury Animal Hospital. It's off South Post Oak, and you can see a heavy police presence here. We've seen a lot of different officials here from different agencies, from constables' offices, from the U.S. Marshal's office. I even spotted Southern District of Texas U.S. Attorney Alamdar Hamdani, who was here. They were all going inside of the hospital, checking in on the status of that U.S. Marshal canine that was shot in that altercation. It was a DPS helicopter that airlifted that canine to this hospital, and that chaotic scene, we were able to capture those images of that canine as officials were there rushing that canine into the chopper and getting flown here. Again, not too far away from where that scene where my colleagues Anayeli Ruiz and Matt Doherty were at. And so we have seen different officials come out here. The latest update we have of that U.S. Marshal's canine is that it is in stable condition, and they're going to be right here until now. So we'll keep monitoring the status of that canine unit for now. I'll send it back to you.
Oh, thank you. Now let's go to the news conference to get a very latest update on what happened today with law enforcement. Let's check it out.
John? Yep.
Chief, whenever you're ready.
One second. Nope. 1 second. Got it. There we go.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today we had a very tragic loss in our community. Brazoria County Deputy Jesse Vargas lost his life doing the Lord's work, like I said earlier, keeping the bad guys off the street. It's an unfortunate event. I had the privilege of meeting the wife, and I gave her my word that we would find this guy today. And but for the relationships that we have, the collaboration, as the good mayor always says, everybody here works together for stuff like this. I want to thank Marshal T. Michael O'Connor, his team, the DA, Shantier, for their cooperation. So at about 4:50 today, after doing a secondary methodical search, which is just part of our processes during a manhunt, our team secured an area behind this building here. The U.S. Marshal Service initiated with a canine. the canine got near a dumpster. The canine alerted near the dumpster. So they went down to make sure it was a good alert. They went down the alley, came back, and the canine again alerted at that dumpster. They opened the dumpster. The canine alerted again. The bad guy shot our canine. Our deputies returned fire, and the suspect succumbed to his injuries inside the dumpster. So again, collaborative effort. I want to thank the men and women of the Houston Police Department, the Marshal Service, every constable's office that was out here doing the hard work, right? Doing the grind out here in the rain, muddy feet, soaking wet, doing it for everyone, doing it for the community. You know, it's the bad guy was a bad guy. And it's unfortunate that it was a tragic end like this, but you know, we're here to do a job. We're here to keep the community safe. Know that this community is probably one of the safest in the country because of the partnerships that we have. The Marshal Service is a great partner. They do the hard things every single day. I had the privilege of working them as a ranger with them as a deputy marshal, with their Gulf Coast violent offenders, and they're pros. You know, today we lost we lost a hero today. That's the message. He did it, took care of business trying to catch a bad guy and put him off the street. So I'm going to yield my time to the U.S. Marshal, T. Michael O'Connor.
Thank you, Chief. I'm T. Michael O'Connor. I'm the U.S. Marshal for the Southern District of Texas. And I have to at least tell the public how much we appreciate, and they should understand and appreciate, the collaborative effort every single day, day in and day out. And we have incidences like this that even shows it even more. You've come and reported some of these incidents over a period of time. And I show you now, unfortunately, what has happened is extremely tragic. There is evil in this world. There are demonic people in this world. But law enforcement stands steadfast to pursue the evilness and the demonic nature, as they are predators preying on the general public. And here's one situation where it was an outstanding warrant in the U.S. Marshal Service, along with a task force that we had of multi-agency deputies, police officers, went in and was surveilling. And as the chief gave you the details, I won't be repetitive on that. But the amazing aspect here that people have to understand, the canine saved lives. This guy had no intentions whatsoever to be taken alive. He proved it by shooting upon our deputies right off. And then once again, as the canine went in there, he decided he'd take the dog out and anybody else that came. Fortunately, our deputies were alerted to this and were able to take action. So I want to at least tell the public, everything's fine now. There's no continuing aspect of this situation. It is, I guess you can say, somewhat been resolved. But again, I cannot express much to you. You know, the Marshal Service, they're not as much investigative as we are assistants to state, local, federal agencies in pursuing evil, the fugitive, and that's why we call it the Violent Task Force, Fugitive Task Force, Gulf Coast. And it proves it here that the expertise and the knowledge and the capability, but the commitment of all these men and women accentuates today. And I hope you understand this. And again, I appreciate the chief. As you know, protocol is that although we were involved in it, there's a courtesy, and I think it's the best thing to do, is to have another agency to investigate. You know, the chief was a ranger at one time, and he investigated some things for us independently. Now he's the chief, so he knows, and we've had a long relationship, and he definitely is the right, HPD is the right agency to investigate this situation and get all the facts And I assure you, you, the media, will get all the facts in a timely manner. Right now, the status of the canine is he's stable in the veterinary. The other thing is, he was lifeless. Are you aware of that? General public's not. But a good friend that I had, Red Duke, Dr. Duke, was instrumental to have a component of having airlift to take dogs to service to the closest clinic. And this is what happened. Unfortunately, we had this happen about a year or two ago. But again, take all those stakeholders and see the results in the timeliness of how this thing got resolved. We're all relentless to get it done and get it done now so that you and the public are not concerned of a continuation of a criminal nature. So I'm going to call back the chief here, and any questions that you may have of us, please ask.
Sean, you want to say a few words?
Okay.
What agency were the officers who fired, and where was the dog from?
The agency was from the United States Marshal Service,
Okay.
and the canine was a federal partner as well, was a United States Marshal canine.
Do you think he just stayed there, like around here? Or, I mean, I know you don't know, but what do you surmise he did, Davis?
Looking at it now, in hindsight, he hid in the trash can.
Yeah. He took
Right.
off and went in there.
You think he was probably there the whole time?
Yeah.
We believe so at this time, yes, sir.
How many shots did he fire, do you know?
We know that the dog got struck twice.
You mentioned that the dog was the one who alerted you guys to the dumpster. You said that, did the dog actually go in? How did that interaction take place when the shooting?
The dog had access to the dumpster.
Yeah, but
And was able to get in the dumpster.
Oh, so he actually went inside
That,
the dumpster
yes.
and was shot inside.
Yeah.
So the guy was hiding underneath trash?
Yes.
in a
Just
dumpster.
tons of it.
Tons of it.
And the dog
Alerted.
alerted and dug in there, and that's when he shot the dog.
What was it that brought you all out here for Davis this morning, today? Was there
Outstanding warrant out of
No, but I
Galveston
mean, was there a
County.
tip that we think he's here? Or?
Yes, always there's somebody that
So-
has some idea of the possibility, and so you don't, you don't stop at that. You go ahead and go forward, and it may not work out, but you go check it out.
We were told that he may have been getting money for plasma here, and that's how you were alerted. Do you know if that's
Well, I
true?
think that's up to the chief to comment, and I'm sure he won't at this time because it's still under investigation.
We don't know those details. I can tell you that he had a aggravated assault with a deadly weapon out of Brazoria County.
And he had
Sorry.
2 out of Harris County, right?
I haven't confirmed those. The ones that I know of is the one in Brazoria County.
Chief, was he shot? Chief, was he shot? The officer, was he shot point blank by the suspect? Do you know if, like, as soon as they surrounded the vehicle? Kind of walk us through like what happened. How was he shot?
Well, we're still working through that. I can tell you that we will evaluate. We are canvassing the entire strip mall, going through phone data, looking at the suspect's phone. So all the police processes will be dealt with accordingly. But as far as details, we're just not ready to do that because we've got to still present this through the legal system.
Okay. And we heard that his girlfriend might have been.
Go.
We heard that Davis's girlfriend might have played a role in this. That maybe her vehicle's license plate was picked up on the flock camera. Is she being questioned or have anything to do with this situation?
That is still under investigation. I won't comment on that.
Oh,
yes.
Sure. And tell us about the suspect. How many times was he shot here in the dumpster? And also, was he shot in the original altercation?
In the original altercation, he was not shot in the dumpster. He was shot multiple times.
Got it. And is he still there?
He's deceased, yes. He's still there. We follow protocol, so the medical examiner's office will come and work through that process.
Is there surveillance footage that could show kind of his path to get to that dumpster? We see the cameras here, but in the back as well.
Part of our investigation will be canvassing methodically. Everything will be asked. Some of the stores are closed, but our homicide investigative team will gather all that information. Absolutely.
What kind of weapon was he armed with?
I do not know.
Now, Chief, he was a passenger in a vehicle. Did you guys pick up the driver, and is that person at all being questioned or detained or arrested or anything?
Earlier today, the driver cooperated. He came back into and got interviewed, so we don't suspect him in any other involvement other than giving the suspect a ride.
And what was that the brown truck that we saw?
Yes.
And what was their connection, the driver?
We don't know yet. We're working through that.
Chief, ¿qué nos puede decir en español?
Oh, anybody else?
You said you spoke to the suspect's wife. Can you speak about the deputy and the person that he was and the impact he made to this community as far as the impact he was concerned?
He was a hero in my eyes. He was a winner, right? He gave 17 years of his life, days, evenings, nights as a patrol officer, right? A lot of people don't lose sight of how hard that is to make it in this career for 17 years. Father of 3. And their family's devastated. Bo Stallman is the sheriff in Brazoria County, just a wonderful sheriff. And they're mourning, so please keep the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office in your prayers. Again, they're just out here working. That warrant comes in every single day. Warrants come in, and there's teams throughout the city, throughout the state, throughout the entire country working those warrants every single day.
I can say, one moment, I can say I commissioned him as a special U.S. Deputy Marshal about a year ago. And they were very excited. Here's a full-time career deputy that has served in many capacities.
The U.S. Marshal's Office and HPD updating us tonight on the takedown of an accused deputy killer found among the garbage in a dumpster that a canine led them to. Suspect Robert Lee Davis fired on that canine that discovered him.
It was really something. Law enforcement then returned fire, shooting and killing the suspect. We'll have much more tonight at 10. Our coverage continues now in the meantime on KHOU.com and KHOU 11+.